welcome back to Habitual. Today we have Surya Namaskar B, Sunrise Salutation B. This one moves through the traditional vinyasa that we learn in Surya Namaskar A, and it adds in a warrior one. A warrior one is where we'll say it's on our right foot. Our right toes are facing towards the front of the room, and our left foot is back behind us on train tracks, so your feet are not in line. There's space between them. Your left foot is planted on the outer edge of that left foot, 45 degrees to the side, so it's facing the corner, the side corner of your room. Bend into your right leg so that your knee is over your ankle, and twist both hips forward so that both hip bones are pointing towards the front wall. Inhale, hands up overhead. This can be practiced with hands apart or hands together. This is your warrior one. The weight of your feet is in your entire right foot and the outer knife edge of your left foot right here. How we will get out of this in our Surya Namaskar B is exhale, plant your hands, twist your left toes forward first, and then step your right foot back. And that's how you go out of your warrior one. So we'll have vinyasa, warrior one, vinyasa, warrior one. Another piece that is added to this is a traditional chair pose. Chair pose, Utkatasana, your feet are together, big toes are touching. There's a slight space between your heels. Bend into your knees stay behind your toes. Tuck your pelvis under slightly so your back is nice and long. And then inhale, hands up overhead. This is your Utkatasana. So let's go ahead and flow through it. Just like in our Surya Namaskar A video, we'll flow through this 5 different times. If you have an issue completing a chaturanga, remember your chaturanga, you can always take on your knees. So when we get there and we say high plank to chaturanga, just drop your knees and move through right here. Or if we get to chaturanga and this is unavailable to you, drop onto your elbows, find space pose until we send it back to downward facing dog. Whatever modifications you take in your Surya Namaskar A are also available to you here in your Surya Namaskar B. So if you get through this practice and you're a little uncomfortable moving through it, go back to the Surya Namaskar A video, watch that, and get tips and tricks and pointers on how to move through that with different body ailments, maybe injuries and whatnot. One other thing to mention that you might need to modify in Surya Namaskar B is in your warrior one. We'll go from a downward facing dog at the end of a vinyasa into a warrior one. So how this typically works is you bring your left foot forward, set it between both hands, your right foot comes onto the knife edge, 45-degree angle, and your hands come up overhead. That is our traditional warrior one entryway. If that's unavailable to you, you can come onto your knees. So roll forward from your down dog, stand up on your knees, and press into your left leg like a high crescent lunge, and then just fix your back foot so that it's in warrior one position. And that's just another beautiful way to get into it. Then when you come down, press your hands, downward facing dog. So those are your modifications. Let's go ahead and get into the 5 rounds of Surya Namaskar B. Inhale, Tadasana, hands by your side, palms facing the front of the room. Exhale, bend into your knees, coming down into chair legs. Inhale, hands up overhead. Exhale, forward, fold over your legs, straighten your knees. Inhale, halfway lift, flat back, shoulder blades come together. And exhale, step or hop to the back of your mat into a high plank and move through chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, step your right foot forward, left foot comes down into warrior one feet, hands up overhead. And exhale, plant your hands, step your right foot back, float or plant it down, move through a chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, step your left foot forward. Plant your right foot into warrior one feet. Hands up overhead. And exhale, forward fold. Step your right foot back, left foot back. Float or plant your foot down. Inhale, upward facing dog. And exhale, downward facing dog. Twist your elbow creases forward, holding your warrior, twist your elbow creases forward, send your heels to the mat. Hold your downward dog for 3 more breaths. Pressing through your shoulders, keeping them extended, your lats are turned on. 1 more inhale. And exhale, send your heels to the mat. Inhale, step or hop to the top of your mat, meeting in a halfway lift. And exhale, forward fold. Then into your knees. Inhale, hands up, overhead chair. And exhale, stand up, Tadasana. Inhale here. And exhale, bend into your knees, chair legs. Inhale, hands up overhead. And exhale, forward fold. Inhale, flat back, shoulder blades come together, chin is slightly tucked. Exhale, plant your hands, step or hop to the back of the mat for a high plank into a chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog, untuck your toes. And exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, step your right foot forward, left foot comes down into warrior one feet, and hands up overhead. Exhale, step your right foot back or hover it as you move through chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. And exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, bring your left knee in, step your left foot forward, warrior one. And exhale, step your left foot back or hover it as you move through chaturanga into upward facing dog. Inhale here. And exhale, downward facing dog. Here for 5 breaths. Tilt your pelvis forward slightly, sending your sit bones up towards the ceiling, lengthening your hamstrings. 3 more breaths here. That Ujjayi breath sounds like you're creating a fog on a mirror with your exhale and builds heat as you go through the cycles. Last exhale here. Bend into your knees. Inhale, step or float to the top of the mat, meeting in halfway lift. And exhale, forward fold. Bend into your knees, hands up overhead. Inhale. And exhale, stand up, Tadasana. Inhale here. And exhale, bend into your knees. Inhale, hands up overhead. And exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. And exhale, forward fold. Plant your hands, step or hop to the back of the mat, coming down into a chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale your right knee in towards your chest. Plant it down, step up into warrior one. And exhale, step your right foot back or float it through a chaturanga into an upward facing dog, untucking both toes, sending your chest forward. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale your left foot forward, warrior one. And exhale, step your left foot back or float as you move through a chaturanga into an upward facing dog. And downward facing dog, exhale. Inhale here. 3 more breaths. Finding that stretch in your hamstrings by tilting your pelvis forward slightly. Heels go down to the mat. 1 more inhale. And exhale, send your heels to the mat. Bend into your knees. Inhale, step or hop to the top of the mat, meeting in a halfway lift. And exhale, forward fold. Inhale, bend into your knees. Hands up overhead. And exhale, Tadasana. Inhale, hands up overhead. Take 1 moment here. And exhale, hands by your side. Inhale here. And exhale, bend into your knees. Inhale, hands up overhead. And exhale, forward fold. Inhale, straight legs, flat back. Half lift. Exhale, step or hop to the back of the mat in high plank through chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, step your right foot forward. Warrior 1 on the right side. And exhale, forward fold, step or float your right foot back. Chaturanga into upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Lift your left knee up towards your chest. Plant your left foot down. Warrior 1 on the left side. And exhale, forward fold. Step your left foot back or float it as you move through chaturanga into upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale here. And exhale. Neck is nice and long. Maybe you shake your head yes and no a few times. Yes. No. Inhale. And exhale. Inhale, step or hop to the top of the mat, meeting in a halfway lift. And exhale, forward fold. Inhale, sink your hips down, lift your hands up, chair. And exhale, tall Tadasana. Last round, inhale here. And exhale, sink your hips back. Inhale, hands up, overhead, chair. Exhale, forward fold, straight legs. Inhale, halfway lift, flat back, shoulder blades together. Exhale, plant your hands, step or hop to the back of the mat into plank and then chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog, untucking your toes, sending your chest forward. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, step your right foot forward between your hands. Exhale, plant your left foot down. Exhale, hands come down to the mat. Step or float your right foot back through chaturanga into upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, bring your left knee in towards your chest. Plant your left foot down, hands up overhead. And exhale, forward fold over your left leg. Step or float back through chaturanga into upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Last downward facing dog, hold for 5 breaths. 4 more breaths. Keep your rib cage coming in towards your pelvic bones. Your hip bones and lower rib cage are pulling together, keeping your torso on, supporting your low back as it releases, bringing length into your spine and your hamstrings. Two more breaths. Inhale, step or hop to the top of your mat, meeting in a halfway lift. And exhale, forward fold. Bend into your knees, lift your hands up overhead. Inhale, chair. And exhale, hands by your side. Thank you so much for joining today. I hope this practice has helped you feel more confident in your personal at-home practice as you go into your next vinyasa in studio practice, and as you do practices here online with us here at Habitual. Thank you so much. We will see you guys later.